Welcome to the Board of Education regular working meeting, September 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Wallace Central Office Building. 1, welcome and roll call. All board members are present. 2, I need approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I so moved with the removal of item 8B.
8B?
8B.
D, Delta.
D, Delta,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
So it's just not ready?
Correct. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 3, student recognition and principal report. Ms. McClellan and Parker Keys.
So, hi everyone, I'm Miss McClellan. I am the agriculture teacher, and here with me today is Mr. Parker Keys. So this past state convention, we actually were very, very lucky. Parker got elected as our Northern Kentucky State Vice President as a state officer for FFA. I've known Parker, this is going on my 4th year into my 5th year. He has been a pain in my butt ever since I met him during COVID, but that's okay. This young man has a drive to do a lot of different things, and when he sets his mind to things, he achieves them. I'm very, very proud of him, and I did want to present him here tonight to you guys because this is our first state officer in over 10 years in the FFA. So I'm very proud of everything that he has accomplished, and I appreciate you guys recognizing him tonight. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing an amazing job.
Thank
So,
you.
and seen the interview. And
Can we do that
Sure,
again?
sure.
Yeah, why don't you come over here, Mike?
Tuck in my shirt, like, get a little professional here, so.
Speech.
Oh,
It's-
that's good.
It seems to run in Parker's family,
Good
I've
job.
noticed. This agricultural thing.
we
Yes.
tried.
Yeah,
You did great on your interview, too.
Thank you.
So thank you.
yeah, great news.
Thank you, Miss McClellan. It's all him. He did all of it. I was just there trying to push him over the edge.
We're very proud. Okay, moving on to 4, public comments.
Anyone?
I know I'm on the agenda, but I'll wait my turn.
5, board member comments. Ms. Becky?
Well, I will use my 90 seconds too, before I get the gavel here. I'll use my 90 seconds to just draw attention to Amendment 2 that's going to be on the ballot in November. This is a constitutional amendment to amend the Constitution to allow public funds or public taxpayer funds to be shared not only with public schools but with private schools. So again, I'm just driving awareness. Some people seem to know all about it and kind of look at the websites online, know the background, kind of see the pros and cons, but some folks aren't aware at all. So I wanted to just bring it up. If you're not aware, I hope you'll do some homework and look at the pros and cons. There is an information sheet that Ms. Jody has that is strictly factual. It's not based on one side or the other. And again, there's a whole lot online. So just real briefly, I just wanted to read what it's going to say in November when you go to vote, because it's not very clear to me anyway. So it's going to say you're going to vote to either amend the Constitution or not, to give parents choices and educational opportunities for their children. Are you in favor of enabling the General Assembly to provide financial support for the education cost of students in kindergarten through 12th grade who are outside the system of common public schools by amending the Constitution as stated below? So, you know, that's kind of murky, it's kind of hard to understand, but again, I'm just driving awareness. So personally, I don't speak for the board, but personally, as a board member with more than 20 years experience, I don't think this is going to help our school or our students if we have less resources to spend for our kids. So anyway, I just wanted to draw attention to the amendment that'll be on the ballot in November. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ashley? John?
No.
Hargis?
I have a quick question on Amendment 2, Madam Chair. What portion of public funds, Ms. Berger, will be going to private schools?
Well, it doesn't really say, Mr. Davis, so we don't really know. It's very vague and murky,
And
so
then, and then if Amendment 2 passed, how long before it becomes law?
I do not know.
3 to 5 years be fair?
The amendment would become law, but then the legislature would have to go back and pass some
Correct.
framework, to allocate the funds. That may take a couple of years, but the
Yeah.
amendment would become law.
Thank you.
Very,
You know, I'm best blessed with you, Miss Becky.
I know.
Me and Becky, if y'all ain't figured it out, so totally into the spectrum on this
Yeah,
issue.
we are. On a lot of things. I think we've come together on 3 things
Yes.
in 8 years, so
So we're going good.
that's pretty good.
you're first and second on the approval of the agenda. That's
Look.
something.
We're getting there.
Thank you.
Bruce, you have anything?
I'll reserve.
I just quickly want to say, or bring up, so we have a discussion meeting scheduled for October 2nd. We do not have any business at this time. Are we okay with canceling that one? October 2nd is the first week, then we have fall break, and then we come back for our regular business meeting. Good? If something comes up, we'll let you know, and secondly, the original meeting that we attended, that Becky was the host of, was phenomenal. It really was a good time, lots of laughs. Landon, he's spectacular.
I tell you, you made more friends that night.
I need 60
What
seconds
I'm
real
here
quick of my 90. The Nelson County, phenomenal trip down there. They have one phenomenal aviation program down there. The gentleman that's over transportation and aviation, he met with us down there. The lady from, I forgot what her title is, but kind of, I call them ad district people, but that wasn't her title. She was down there, some people from Nelson County Board, instructors and things, and they just have a phenomenal program. That's who I'm waiting to, they're getting me a job description, and that's why I had the job description. I figured there ain't no use in us trying to reinvent the wheel. But good meeting down there, a lot of good information from them. They're in their 5th year. They switched from the Cubs, building them and selling them over to the Sling TSIs. They're equivalent to, they're phenomenal plane, and it just, we all need to go back down there and take a look at it again. It was just wonderful people to talk to that day. We got to interact with the students down there, got to talk with the students. They bring them in, they get 24 people into the program from, I think it was 3 of the schools down there, and then they turn around and put, out of those 24, 12 of them, they're like their junior year, they do the aircraft builds. Their senior year, some of them goes into just different parts of aviation, and they will put them out of the program if they don't have the temperament for it, if they don't show professionalism and things. And I mean, it's just, first time I ever walked in a school in a workshop and where they're drilling rivets and stuff, you ain't got metal shavings on the floor and all over the table. That's how, and it just, but I've got some more information coming from them. Got some more information coming from the other companies that's wanting to support us in this endeavor. A lot of people across states talking about it, from southern Kentucky all the way through CVG.
Awesome.
That's all I had on that, man.
Okay, good job. Can't wait to hear more on that. All right. Moving on to 6 staff school reports. Student board member, Mr. Landon Johnston.
Yeah, I just had a few little things just from inside the high school that were going on. Student council had put on a 9/11 stair climb. They did it last year. It was a good thing. They did it this year. I had a lot of attendance. Saw a lot of kids doing that, so it was a cool thing. HOCO homecoming is this week, so this Friday if you want to get to the game. The homecoming starts at 7, I think, and the game starts at 7:30. And the seniors are taking the ACT for the last time, like in the school, and I think this is the last paid for. So that was a cool thing that I don't think a lot of us knew was going to happen. So October 1st is when that happens. So I know a lot of us are excited to try to boost our scores one more time.
Okay.
That's all from me.
Start. Moving on to 6B enrollment attendance report, Mr. David Arden.
You've got a copy of enrollment report in front of you. We've enrolled 8 students since our last meeting. Our attendance is holding pretty strong, 94.73, which is pretty good considering all the sickness that we've had going around. So The buildings are all chasing attendance goal that we set for them of 94% for the year, and just talking to kids about it and setting a lot of rewards and incentives and just encouraging them to show up every day. So it's going well.
How's Angie's program going?
Doing well. From, speaking with her, she's got, meeting with the kids, checking in with them every other week, virtually, and she feels like it's moving right along.
All right, moving on to 6C, CAO report, Mr. Tony Jury.
Mr. Johnston kind of tells you what's going on with testing. The seniors do get another take, and I wish more would take advantage of it. It's the ones that want to get higher scores are taking advantage of it. We really need them all to try to get a higher score, but this is the motivated seniors, and so it's a big group this year. It's bigger than normal, so we're excited about that. Another thing I'm doing with all the school leadership teams is a book study called 100-Day Leaders, turning short-term wins into long-term success in schools. Just to give you an example of the process we're in, we're building 100-day goals. The first things we identify our values, take an initiative inventory. Sometimes we try to do too many things at once, and so we drop the ball on all of them. And so we're writing down all those initiatives. Then the third thing is to make a not to do list. This was something that's kind of new, but get the teams together and they work it out with their school team. What are we not going to do this year? So they're working on these things. Identify 100-day challenges, monitor high leverage practices, and specify results. So we're working through this. They've got some 100-day goals. We met today with the upper elementary to take a look at those goals and the progress towards them. Other than that, we still have some vacancies in the district. One crucial vacancy right now is our ESL. We had a lady, it took a while to get her certified. It took long enough that she decided to stay where she was instead of come here. We were crossing state lines, and so we had to work with EPSB, and it just took too long. And so you've heard the saying, had all the eggs in one basket. Well, I had one egg in one basket, and it rolled out. So we're back to square one on that, but we're aggressively seeking what our options are on that. So that concludes my report, unless you have questions.
Any questions?
Quick question. Can you speak to how professional development was spent yesterday with our staff? So
I wish
each school kind of do their own thing.
I wish principals were here to speak. I know at the high school they did. I was there, and I can't even remember.
That's fine. You can let us know.
They
do Red Book training?
They did Red Book training here for some of the staff. The high school was workshop model. That's how to engage your students on a rigid schedule for the entire period. So that's what they were doing, and the focus is on what are students doing, not necessarily what's the teacher doing. So when we walk in the classroom, what are the students engaged in? What are they doing? Are they actively learning? So that was at the high school. At the elementary, at the upper and the middle school, they worked on standards alignment together. They're looking at their assessments because one of the questions we've asked this year for teachers to look at, we've got our KSA scores with novice, apprentice, proficient, distinguished. We also have student grades. Mm-hmm. And so what our principals have done is they've lined up. This student has scored novice, but it has straight A's. So why is that? And so, where they're doing what we expect them to do. So why are they novice? And so that's some of the alignment that we're looking at. Tough questions to answer. Not trying to be critical of the work that we're doing, but just saying, why is this? What's not aligned? And so I know they were doing some of that work. And at the lower, they're continuing working on the illustrative mathematics and building their new lessons in that.
Margaret, their training so technical, they're just having a hard time explaining it to you.
I wish principals were here, cause they could give you a complete.
I understand, yeah, that was more relevant for them,
Yeah.
not you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to 6D, the superintendent report, Mr. David Arvin.
30 seconds.
All right, I'll talk fast. Just some things since the last meeting. Upper and Lower hosted Grandparents' Night. It was a great success. Huge turnout. I really appreciated seeing everybody as walked around. Landon had mentioned the 9/11 stair climb that the high school did. That was a great way to honor those first responders that passed away on that day, and just recognize those that are currently in those roles within the county. The district was recognized by the chamber as the business spotlight, so we were able to attend the chamber meeting and had some great conversations with our local business leaders. Ms. Lewis conducted a training yesterday as well with some of our new teacher mentees, and continuing that work that she's doing with them. And then, as was mentioned, we were having our central office people and principals were over here doing Red Book training yesterday. So that concludes my report.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Moving on to 6E, did everybody get a chance to look at the SBDM agenda minutes? And
Yes.
F, human resource actions?
Yes.
Moving on to 7, consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I so moved to approve with the item K, those items being bid out under sealed bid.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the intention, but it is supposed to list what the disposition will be. If you declare them surplus, then how you gonna dispose of them.
Okay.
It should say by sealed bids.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. 8, recommended action, new business. Review approved working budget for the 24-25 school year. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? We'll have discussion after a second, but. All right, discussion.
So Ms. McCarty, what's changed between this budget and the last budget?
I put some things in there that were discussed throughout the year that we might be needing. There's some line items in there to purchase Chromebooks every year. We are going to be purchasing a bus with our ESSER money, but there were discussions about trying to get on a routine of purchasing a bus every year. So I put $150,000 in the budget for that. Just things throughout the year that we heard. The revenue for Fund 2, of course, is going to be lower. I don't expect to get hardly, the ESSER money is kind of gone. We'll be making one last claim. Is that due? Don't we have to have all that allocated by September 30th? And
Yes.
all we have left in there is the money we're going to spend for the bus.
Yes.
So we will still get maybe around $200,000 of ESSER money this year that we still have to claim. But I will be submitting that before September 30th. We have to have it, we don't have it spent by September 30th, we have to have it allocated and encumbered.
Do these departments understand that just because you've allocated them money, they cannot spend that money without the approval of the board?
Yes, everything still goes through the same approval process.
And how much extra did you allocate this year?
How
from
much
last year?
extra did I allocate? Well, some of the extra allocations in the expenses are because the contingency number is higher, and the contingency number rolls into your expenses number.
Correct.
So I allocated about $500,000 extra for salaries to allow for the increase in the salaries that we accommodated. I'm hoping that'll be enough. Because we've added some teachers, and I did the best that I could to try to think about everything that we had done. I looked at the numbers from last year, matched those that I didn't expect to go up, and increased those that I thought would.
And then under the bus line item, that 100, and I think I seen two in there on the 100,000, and that was above and beyond the ESSER that we talked about.
Yes,
Okay.
that is, the ESSER bus will be purchased by the end of, I think it's due to arrive October 15th, the new bus.
Food services budget,
I didn't do much anything with the food services budget. I kind of let it roll the way it was, other than a little bit of increase for the cost of living increase. There is a line item in there. I don't know if you noticed it or not. I don't know if it shows up on the working budget.
90
but-
something,
Huh?
go ahead,
There's a line item for a freezer, $100,000.
yes ma'am.
But they don't know that they're gonna have to buy that. They got the one fixed, so they decided not to purchase it yet until it actually dies again, I think.
Well, do they realize that they cannot purchase that freezer? without
Yes,
approval?
yes,
Okay.
nothing can be purchased without approval.
One thing I would like to bring up, for next year,
Mhm.
to maybe have this on the discussion meeting, ahead of time, so that we can deep dive, and then when it comes to the final, we can just roll on. But that way, if there's any extra questions, or if we need to change something, I know obviously this year, but next year, let's try to,
Noted.
thank you.
Final contingency number?
4.1, 4.199, I think.
You didn't hold any.
4,199,000.
I didn't get down into the insurance section, you didn't hold all them deductibles, did you?
I did not put
Okay.
anything in there for the not that much, I put some in there. But I did put the actual numbers that we paid for insurance this
Right.
year, so that did go up. We had already paid
And
that
that
bill, so I
4.1
was able to put that in
And
there.
that 4.1 was after the 100,
After everything that's been added in,
Okay.
right, that was still
What
up.
was our contingency last year?
3 point.
We ended up with 3.8, I think,
Okay.
We started at the beginning of the year, what was it, 3.1, I think?
yeah.
I was hoping to left that money in where it was sitting, because I was wanting to be about 4.3, 4.4, and then move it out to contingency.
Well, I mean, you can, the contingency percentage, I think, is 24 something. Sorry, I ran it so many times, I forgot the exact percentage, so we are sitting very healthy. Very, very healthy.
Thank you, ma'am, good job.
All right, any other discussion on that? So I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0, great. Moving on to 8B, discussion approved bus change for daycare pickup. Do I have a motion? We will have a discussion as well. Do I have a motion?
Well, I think, what would the motion be? I mean.
Or do we, I guess we don't
providing a
have just because it's
recommendation?
discussed?
I ain't gonna discuss something I ain't been.
Yeah, I thought that he was gonna recommend something. No, what's the motion? What's the motion, I guess?
Discuss, change for daycare pickup.
Bus
So we're
route,
making a
maybe.
motion to discuss.
Or do we
it?
just need to
You
have
don't need a
discussion
motion
first?
to discuss it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so discussion.
I don't think there's been any recommendation yet, has there?
No.
Have you recommended
Just
something?
let's
No.
discuss, approve.
Okay, but when he makes sure that you got a motion.
Okay, so then-
Point one. Kill it.
Okay, so discussion is, to possibly get, a bus route to the, daycare. Ms. Gina has been brought up a couple of times. I know we've had some discussion and some issues, with, this is a certified daycare, but is it fair to do it for one and not all? So I'm gonna open it up there and let's get input from the board and go from there.
I'll just go ahead and say, if we're gonna do that for the daycare, and as everybody knows, I've talked to some of y'all about trying to figure out a way for them. But if we're gonna do this for the daycare, then we need to start providing bus service in the city of Warsaw. I'm thinking if we're gonna do it, it needs to start at the beginning of next school year. And it gives us time to get the extra drivers and put the buses on the routes and stuff that we need. But as, you know, I've talked to you about it, but Amanda, we talked about it now for 2-3 years on how to get them bus service. But what we're gonna run into is we're getting ready to open a can of worms on this. Because if we're picking those up, what about the Indian children that walks to the gas station every day? Why aren't we dropping off that business? I understand that's certified. Then the Hispanic community, why aren't we dropping off the church down there and stuff where those children go? Then are we back in the trailer park here? Or, and I mean, I'm 100% for providing them bus services. But if we're gonna do it, then we need to provide all of Warsaw bus service.
Okay, so I am totally on board with that. I want all children to be equal and have the opportunity to have bus service. Mr. Arvin does have a really good plan that maybe we can discuss. It does not have to be approved tonight by any means. Do you wanna?
So the plan that we had met and talked about was, there was a bus route that goes out to Verona that, all the routes, most kids are home before 4 o'clock every evening. So it takes about an hour to get everybody home. And there was some space on that bus, and it could have been the last bus in to pick kids up. And when that bus left, then the daycare could have been its first drop off, and then head back out on its route. It probably would have just added a couple of minutes. And there's enough space on that bus to accommodate the daycare kids. But, in talking, and maybe if the board would be willing, I could look to potentially give an update in December on the potential plan, whenever you would choose to approve. If we want to try to tackle seeing about what it would take to pick up kids in the city of Warsaw, maybe present you with a plan then, and see what we would need to work through to make sure that we were ready to do that. If I could be able to make something happen by January, working with you guys, I would love to do that, just from the standpoint of seeing last year how the colder months really do affect our attendance. Because once it gets below a certain temperature, certain parents just aren't gonna let their kids walk to school. I understand that. So.
Mr. Arvin, that bus going to Verona that you mentioned, is it gonna go back to Jericho and pick those children up?
I don't know where Jericho is, so.
That's up in Miss Margaret's district, and she
Yes.
brought it up to the board many
I
times.
actually just drove out there tonight on my way in because I was a little early. You might remember, I think it was last year, might have been the year before. We had a situation where a family was out at the end of Jericho, and mom had a baby, and mom was walking the 6, 7, 8, I don't know, year old out every morning to 42. It's over a mile.
I think there was like 4 or 5
In
kids.
all weather.
Wow.
So my phone rang off the hook about that.
Mhm.
And I mean, rightfully so. It's not, it doesn't feel good. It's not what we're about. But I drove out there. I mean, it's not a terrible road. There's a bridge. It's paved. You get to the end, and I could see where a bus could back up. It's probably on somebody's land because there's a house right there at the end. I guess you've probably been back there. It's probably that homeowner's property.
That's what Miss Margaret, that's where they turned around,
Yeah.
they pull up.
But we did, I mean, not to say,
For
it
years.
sounds antiquated, we did it for years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we quit going back there, and just, the mom walking this kid out with a baby on
I say
her.
there's something about the law, somebody don't have to send a bus back.
Yeah,
Those children.
and there's other roads, it's not just
Yeah.
Jericho, but Jericho, I mean, that got to me. I was thinking about just going out there every morning myself. But anyway, so yeah, those situations are real important as well. Not, and your situation is important, but how we tackle all of it comprehensively, I don't know. If we have the resources to do all this.
So I'm for with allowing Mr. Arvin to come up with something,
Yeah, and
present it in
if
December.
there are any situations like that to this particular road,
Yes.
not necessarily in the city, but out in the county, that, you want me to look at to potentially address as well, just, please let me know, and I will make
There
sure
is
it's part of the conversation.
something I
Mr.
would
Arvin,
like
the
to see.
board, it wants those children dropped off over, but then we also need to provide bus service to other children through at least the winter months or something coming up, and just like the children back on Jericho, Miss Margaret's district, those children should have been being picked up too. That mother should have been responsible for.
I mean, rain, snow, whatever, there she was.
Yeah.
And it was
Suggestion?
just- Oh,
Loving those children.
Please price a short bus, because if the issue is they cannot get turned around on some of these roads, maybe we're gonna, allocate money for buses, look into that.
Okay.
That's a great, and we could use it for sports and everything else, but
A
if
smaller
that's the
bus.
issue, that we can't get around or something, get a smaller bus in
Okay.
there. So are we all in agreement, since this really isn't a motion, but agreement to allow Mr. Arvin a little bit of time to get together a plan to accommodate all?
do you understand kind of
Yes.
our predicament? Yeah, okay,
I
thank
can
you.
get you bus service. It's just bear with us a little bit longer.
Sure will.
Okay,
appreciate
thank you, yeah.
Does it have to be January, do we have something for maybe December?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try and get it done as quick as I can. I would like to present it in December, sometime maybe early December, and then if we want to start it in January or before, you know, it could be contingent upon hiring a driver, you know, being able to find a driver, you know, and some of that, so.
Well, Mr. Arlen, sooner you can get it back to us. We'll
Yeah,
make it-
I would say if you could do that in November,
I mean, I still wanna
you know
rush
your
it.
timeline better than we do, but
Yeah.
if you can do it in November, you get it, to me, it gets cold sometimes
It gets
December.
those kids picked up at daycare back here in Asbury where they ain't
So
walking.
if we
to
had it
school.
started December 1, I think that would be a
As
positive.
early as possible.
As early as possible, that'd be
Yeah,
great,
one
and if it,
There we go.
yeah,
Yeah,
but if you need the time, it's fine too,
Okay.
just stay in touch.
Does that work for you?
Yes, sir,
Thank
thank you
you.
all so much.
Okay, great. Moving on to 8C, discuss approve medical cannabis policy.
So Jake, I have a question about this.
Yeah.
So is this for kids who are medically, they're prescribed it, so,
Yes, ma'am.
but they could take it before school or after school and not necessarily on the school ground?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So this is for, you know, minor students, I shouldn't say minor, really any student who has a prescription for medical marijuana. The law permits the board to decide, do we let them administer the prescribed marijuana on school property or no? You can say we want to prohibit them taking that medical cannabis on school property, in which case they would have to make other arrangements before school, after school, some other arrangement. But I think that the KSB model policy there kind of lays out your two choices
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah, right.
You can choose to allow it, and which if you do allow it, you know, you've got to have the precautions they've put in there that no other students can see it, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You can just say, we don't want that to happen on school property. We don't want, you know, our nurses to have to fool with it. Too much of an administrative issue.
Lee, I'm going with the majority of y'all on this. I'm the wrong one to be talking about this. I don't always experiment but when I do, I try not, I'm the politician that tries not to excel. So, whatever y'all wanna do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move to prohibit the use of medicinal cannabis on school property.
I agree. So you're a second? Tiffany moves, Ashley seconds, all in favor? Aye.
I don't want Ms. Burgett just said.
Opposed?
Pardon?
I said, I don't want Ms. Burgett just said.
5-0
I can hear
passed,
everything you said.
prohibited. Let's get that out. All right, looks like, wow, 9, adjournment. I need a motion, please.
32 minutes. Not me.
Anybody want to, okay, I'm like, do we want to stay? Do I have a second?
I keep.
Ferguson, second, thank you, all in favor? Aye.
Keeping
Opposed?
track of time.